December 1944, the Ardennes Forest, Belgium. The 101st Airborne is surrounded at Bastogne, cut off, outnumbered 5-1, out of winter clothing, low on ammunition, no air support. The fog won't lift. History remembers their answer. When the Germans demanded surrender, the American commander replied with one word: nuts. They held, but it cost thousands of American lives. Young men who froze in foxholes, waiting for a sky that wouldn't clear. Tonight, the fog brings something the 101st could never have expected, and the men who arrive won't understand where they are until it's almost too late. Then, the fog closes in. Let's go back. 72 hours earlier, and 80 years later. A training range in Germany, present day, 4 o'clock. 12 Rangers from the 75th Ranger Regiment load out for a routine exercise. Full kit. A logged allotment of drones and live munitions, reconnaissance birds, FPV strike drones, loitering munitions. Counted, signed for, loaded onto vehicles. The objective? A live fire problem at a range 2 valleys east. Captain Hayes has run it a dozen times. They move out before dawn. The fog rolls in thick. Not unusual for a German winter morning. GPS flickers, then drops. Radios fill with static. Hayes calls a halt. When the fog thins, the range is gone. No towers, no targets, no road they drove in on. Just snow-covered forest, and the distant sound of artillery that shouldn't be there. Hayes does what a ranger does. He gathers information. The first reconnaissance drone goes up. What comes back on the screen makes the whole platoon go silent. Soldiers in a perimeter below them, in wool coats. M1 Garands. A defensive line dug into frozen ground around a town. Foxholes. Half-tracks. No body armor. No optics. No radios they recognize. And beyond them, German armor. Massing. Tiger tanks that haven't been built in 80 years, idling in the eastern forest. Hayes stares at the feed for a long time. "Sir," his sergeant says, "where are we?" Hayes answers slowly. The question isn't where, it's when. They make contact with the perimeter at first light, and they tell the 101st the only thing that will make sense, that they're a classified unit sent to help them hold. It isn't true, but it's close enough. Here's what 12 Rangers brought to a training exercise, and what it means in 1944. The reconnaissance drones, thermal and optical cameras. They see through fog at night in any weather. 40-minute flight time, 10-kilometer range. They map an entire front before anyone fires a shot. In 1944, the German attack succeeded because fog grounded Allied aircraft. Nobody saw the Germans massing. These drones don't care about fog. The FPV strike drones. First-person view, piloted by a single operator wearing goggles. Carry an anti-tank warhead. They fly into the weak top armor of a Tiger tank. A Tiger's front armor stopped almost everything in 1944. Nothing was attacking it from above at 140 kilometers an hour. The loitering munitions? Switchblade systems. They launch, circle a target area, and strike on command. Range? 40 kilometers. They hit artillery and supply columns far behind the line. This wasn't a combat loadout. It was a training allotment, a fixed number of drones and rounds logged and counted. That number is going to matter, because when it runs out, there is no resupply in 1944. Here's what the Rangers are walking into. The German offensive. Operation Watch on the Rhine. Hitler's last major gamble in the West. December 16th, 1944. 410,000 German soldiers, 1,400 tanks and assault guns, including the Tiger II, 70 tons, armor up to 185 millimeters thick. The plan? Punch through the thinly held Ardennes, split the Allied armies, capture the port of Antwerp. The weapon that made it work wasn't a tank. It was the weather. Heavy fog and low cloud grounded the Allied air forces for over a week. The single greatest advantage the Allies had, air power, was switched off by the sky. The Germans achieved complete surprise. They surrounded Bastogne, a crossroads town held by the 101st Airborne, and demanded surrender. The 101st held on through sheer will. When the skies finally cleared on December 23rd, Allied aircraft devastated the German columns. But that was a week of holding on, frozen and bleeding against impossible odds. Tonight, the skies don't need to clear, because the Rangers brought their own. The Ranger commander, Captain Hayes, works the 101st perimeter with the recon feed still in his head. Hundreds of German vehicles staged in the eastern forest for an assault the defenders cannot see coming. A young paratrooper, maybe 19, challenges them at the line. Rifle up, exhausted, frostbitten. He hasn't slept in 2 days, but he doesn't lower the weapon. "I don't know what unit you're with," the paratrooper says, looking at gear he's never seen in his life. "And I don't know how you got behind our line." "We're a classified unit," Hayes says. "We're here to help you hold." The paratrooper looks at him for a long moment, then lowers the rifle. "Then you picked a hell of a place to do it." He sticks out a frozen hand. On his wrist, half buried under a glove, a dog tag glints, strung there instead of around his neck, the way some men wore a spare. Hayes shakes the hand. He doesn't read the tag. He has a war to win first. 12 Rangers cannot fight 410,000 Germans, but they don't have to. They have to break one assault, the one about to hit Bastogne, and buy the 101st the time it needs until the skies clear. The reconnaissance drones never leave the air. For the first time in the battle, the defenders of Bastogne know exactly where the enemy is. And the 101st Artillery stops firing blind into fog. The FPV drones are held back for one target, the tanks. The young paratrooper sticks close to Hayes through all of it. He's quick. He learns the drone feeds faster than men twice his age. Hayes finds himself trusting him. "What's your name, kid?" Hayes asks. The paratrooper tells him. Hayes nods. It's a common enough name. He has no reason, yet, to feel like he's heard it before. Then the recon feed lights up. The German armor is moving. December 20th, 0500. The German assault begins. In the original timeline, it comes out of the fog with no warning. Tonight, the Rangers have watched it form for 6 hours. 40 tanks, infantry behind them. The German crews are confident. They've broken every American line for 4 days. The fog is theirs. The sky is theirs. Hayes gives one order. "Artillery, fire for effect!" The 101st guns hit mapped coordinates for the first time in the battle. The lead formation is shattered before it clears the tree line. The crews don't understand how. There are no spotter planes. The Americans shouldn't be able to see them. Then the FPV drones launch. In the lead Tiger, the commander hears a sound no one in 1944 has ever heard. A high mechanical whine coming from above. He looks up. The last thing he sees is a small object diving at his turret. The tank brews up from the inside. One after another. Tanks that have never been threatened from above die in the snow. Crews climbing out, firing rifles uselessly at the sky. Panic moves through the column faster than any retreat order. Men who crossed half of Europe throw themselves into ditches, hiding from an enemy with no face, no plane, no artillery they can locate. A frantic German radio message goes up the chain. Wir werden aus der Luft angegriffen. Wir können nichts sehen. We are being attacked from the air. We can see nothing. By 7 o'clock, the assault is broken. The 101st holds, and the skies are still gray. The young paratrooper stares at the wrecked armor in the snow. "What are you people?" he says quietly. Hayes doesn't answer. He doesn't have one that would make sense. The fog begins to thin. Whatever brought the Rangers is taking them back. Hayes moves down the line, clasping hands with the men they fought beside. He reaches the young paratrooper last. The kid grips his hand, and the dog tag slides out from under his glove. Hayes sees the name, the full name. It's his own. The same name on the framed photograph on his grandmother's wall. A paratrooper who came home in 1945, lived to 91, and never told the war stories. Hayes is looking at his great-grandfather, 19 years old, alive. "What?" the kid says. "You look like you've seen a ghost." Hayes can't tell him what he knows, that this boy goes home, that 4 generations later, his own blood just helped save the life that made his life possible. "Nothing," Hayes says. "You just remind me of someone." The fog closes in. German tanks destroyed, 38. The 101st line, held. Ranger casualties, 0. They didn't win the war. The 101st had already proven they could hold Bastogne. The Rangers just made sure more of them lived to see the skies clear. When Hayes got home, he took the photograph off the wall and looked at it for a long time. The young man in the photo is smiling. Hayes finally knows why. He was there. If you could stand beside one ancestor in one battle in history, which would it be? Subscribe to Spec Ops Files. The next file is already open.